back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. I'm Aurelio Martinez, Steve Johnson, and I'll tell you what, we're going to follow through with this next episode, following our first episode, which isn't going to be easy to do, but we're going to do it, man. We're going to do it. Okay?
Bomac, you're not going to take our thunder. I'll tell you that right there.
We want to, in this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about how this free TV, something that Premier Champion Boxing has done for us.
Premier Boxing Champions, Al Heyman
have done for us. We're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about this past weekend's fight, with Cal Brook and Spence going over to Manchester and or Sheffield and coming home with the victory. And of course, we had Mile High Mike Alvarado coming back to the scene, and we're going to talk about whether he passed the test or what. Okay, so Steve, or what? So Steve, let's go on and keep it rolling. We were talking about how
Premier Boxing Champions,
and how Coach McIntyre mentioned, they want the next ones to be on free TV.
Yes.
Now, see, let's talk about the free TV and how that's affecting boxers and boxing fans here in the United States, because I'm loving it. And I've been saying that a long time that I've been loving it. Now, give me your take on what's going on here.
Well, first of all, let me say this: that fight last night, yesterday afternoon, and that was in Sheffield, England, between Earl Spence and Kell Brook. Yep. That fight being on Showtime still was not free, but it was not pay-per-view. But Al Heyman, with that, the whole thing of Earl Spence going over there into Kell Brook's backyard, which none of these other guys wanted to do. Let's just be honest.
Oh, they won't.
None of these other guys wanted to do.
Well, they pick and choose so they fight here.
That's right.
Much less going,
That's right. Well, this was huge for Earl Spence. It was huge for Premier Boxing Champions. It was huge for Al Heyman. Now, let's get to, like I was saying at the end of the Bomac segment. The one who really started this thing about, I want to be on free TV, I don't want people to have to pay for my fights, I think I'm the best, but I don't think it, that was Keith Thurman. Okay? Yep. He was the one who started that. Yep. Okay, and Premier Boxing Champions, if you remember, they've held that. They've had him on a couple of their fight cards. So, as Bomac said, this fight, just not to get off topic, but this thing with McGregor and with Mayweather is detracting, like he said, from focusing on what should be the ultimate goal, and that's to promote boxing. Not a circus, to promote boxing. And like you said, Floyd is, pulling off this stuff where he's been successful at what he does. But like getting back to our topic,
we're going to talk about that.
Well, we can talk about that later.
I've got my view, and it's a little different from what you guys are thinking. Yeah. Okay, but we'll get into that.
Okay. But for what we're talking about is for the free TV. Like you mentioned, our old days, and we're dating ourselves, but the old days of ABC's Wild World of Sports, every Saturday afternoon, you could count at least 9 months out of the 12 that there was going to be some type of boxing on Saturday afternoon.
And good boxing.
And it was good boxing.
You sit down in your living room and you watch the boxing.
And you know what? For people like us, for casual fans, for the people that have those $10,000 seats, in front of all that, it's not a big deal. But for us casual fans, there's really not a bad boxing show that's televised. Well, I mean, we want to see boxing and we want to see different things that come up, and that can happen.
And that's the beauty of it. Exactly. If you have the money and you want to go see it live, then go buy the ringside seats, for $10,000, $5,000, $10,000. That's right. But don't shut off the everyday fan. The one that's
the loyal.
And the guy that's living paycheck to paycheck. They still want to see these fights. Yeah. I just love it. And let me touch off. You got the business side. You got the business side, and you got the viewership side. Okay, Al Heyman had the money come in, his investors, to do what he started to do. Now Bob Arum and De La Hoya, they knew exactly where this was going to lead to. So they actually sued Al Heyman, trying to stop this from happening, and because that was a slap in the face to us boxing fans. They didn't want us to get the free TV. They wanted you to pay so that they can get more money in their pockets. Okay, That's what I'm saying, the stronghold. So, needless to say, their lawsuits were thrown out of court. They were stupid. They couldn't stop what he was doing. Al Heyman had too many investors behind him, a lot of money behind him, and the best judge, the best attorney is in there fighting this thing. And I'll tell you what, De La Hoya and Aram, they're so much into making their profit that they knew if they were going to keep this lawsuit going, it was going to cost them a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
a lot of money, big money. So they could shut it down. It didn't work, and it faltered. Okay, so now the free TV is coming in. I love what's happening. I really do love, because now we're getting bigger names. We're getting boxing, and we're going to have good fighters all across the United States that are going to get the much needed exposure.
exactly.
I mean, take our local fighter here, Misael Lopez. He can go in there with the champion right now. I'm telling you, that's how good he is. He finally got TV exposure on a regional network, Altitude TV, on his last fight. I mean, so this is what's going to happen to all the fighters across the United States that are worthy. And I'm telling you, I like it.
Well, and I like the analogy you just made, because you mentioned Misael, but at the same time, it gave exposure to Alejandro Ibarra,
Exactly.
Cruz Valenzuela. You know, it gave those guys exposure that no one else outside of Colorado would have known.
They'll never get.
Unless they turned into. So that is a valid thing about the free TV. It's very, like I said, very interesting that Bomac's take of yeah, the free TV is good because, like you said, it gives exposure to these other guys that they wouldn't get. But at the same time, because of that exposure, that will make the value of pay-per-view go up. Okay, that's when it gets valuable. Okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The promoter needs to pay the boxers their millions of dollars and millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. But the way the promoters are right now, they have such a stronghold that they're saying, okay, well, no, we're going to pass that expense to the fans. They're going to end up buying this pay-per-view for $100, and that's how we're going to pay everybody. And then they start to pocket all these sponsorships. They start to pocket all this pay-per-view money, you know, and it's just wrong. It's just wrong, okay? This is America, so everybody needs to be able to make money. I understand that, okay? But you have to give the public what they want. So I like the way that's traveling, and I like the way it's moving, and I just can't wait for this whole door to be knocked down, kicked down, and kudos to Al Heyman and what he's doing.
Yeah. You know, real quick, we've got a couple of minutes left in this segment. I've got to branch off here. I got to talk about my boy Mike Alvarado.
Yeah, we're gonna extend this program because we want to talk about the past fights. So go ahead, let's
talk. Mike was up there. Where did he fight in Chicago also?
Chicago,
right? Okay, and that was televised locally here on Unamas. But we got a chance to see Mike against Matthew Strode, who was a game. You know, Matthew Strode was a game opponent. He came out, he did everything good, but you could see it. Towards the end of the first round, he was just totally outclassed, you know. And when Mike has a guy that stands in front of him and wants to fight him, that's made to order for Mike Alvarado. But let me say this, Mike looked good. I'm talking about physically. I mean, he looked like he was clear. I mean, his body looked toned. I was very happy, just for numerous reasons, but I was happy to see Mike.
I can tell you in the audience firsthand, Mike was ready for this fight. I mean, he had a training camp because they train right next door to our gym, okay? So I see him on a daily basis, and I see what he's doing in his training camp. He worked hard. They sparred with very good sparring. They had Hector Muniz come in from New Mexico, among others. And it was a good training camp, and I was glad to see this fire in Mike Alvarado come back. And the other side, Strode side, they weren't expecting this. They were expecting a old, obsolete Alvarado coming in. But Mike, in his mind, knew that he had to go in there and show the world that, hey, he's far from done, and his problems are behind him. And I'll tell you what, if he continues to train the way he is, he's ready to get back up on the big stage. I'm telling you, Matthew Strode didn't have any business in the ring with that Mike this weekend. Mike was in shape. He was ready. He attacked. He wasn't going to be denied. And Strode had no answer for it. He actually made Strode look pretty basic.
I won't go that far, man. Strode, like I said, he was totally outclassed. But I will agree with you with this. It looked like Strode's people, they were like, we're going to go on the attack, and this is the old Mike we've been seeing, we're just going to destroy him. Mm-hmm. And they found that wasn't true, and they got destroyed.
And I'd like to mention to everyone, Mike's with the new trainer, new management, new everything, okay? He's no longer with that old Mike team, okay? He's got Rick Lopez training him, head trainer.
Devin.
That's part of the training team,
right.
Devin. But they're making him work, and if you look at the way Mike fought in the ring, you can actually see some style. You can actually see some movement. You can actually see somebody. So the changes he made were very good for him.
Yes. I can't dispute that one bit.
Now let's go on and talk to Sheffield. Let's talk about Sheffield and
Sheffield, man. Why do you keep messing up all these names, man?
Man, because I got that.
Don't even try it. Don't even try it. Okay. Don't even try it, man. Sheffield, England. Okay.
But we're talking about the boxing, okay?
Yeah.
We talked about this. We did a pre-show on this fight, and
a few weeks ago.
And of course, I thought Cal Brook would win.
No. You didn't think. You guaranteed. You said he was going to win a unanimous decision.
I did. I said he was going to win because and everyone out there knows how hard it is to go into hostile territory, especially all the way away from the United States.
Wait a minute, man. No,
and win a decision.
You're not going to get away from that. What was my prediction? What was my prediction?
Well, your prediction came true. You said
he was going to stop him. That's what I said.
Yep.
But see, you remember you made fun of me. You brought up old crazy stuff about Hank Lundy and all that craziness, and I told you that wasn't true. But anyway, give me my props, man. I told you the young boy was going to go do it. He wouldn't stop it.
He did, and I'm glad. I'm actually glad he did. I just outweighed the politics of boxing. Okay, you just don't go out and win a decision like that. You've seen what they had 25,000 fans there, all singing and dancing.
There was 20,000,
and it was hard. But Spence went in there and he took this boy's heart away, man.
Well, he took his heart from the 9th round on. That first 8 rounds was close.
Cal,
it was close.
And what I saw in this, Cal's a good boxer, and that's why he's world champion. But I don't know if anyone else saw it. He lacks the power. He lacks the devastating power, and he was fighting someone that has power. Okay. Now, the way he went in there and handled himself in the first half of the fight, okay, basically outscoring and stuff, had he had punch where he would have got the respect from Spence, the outcome probably would have been different and a legitimate outcome. But when you can't hurt a fighter, when you can't have a fighter taste your power and give you that respect where they start to fight a little more cautious, then you're in trouble. And that's exactly what happened here. He never hurt Spence to where Spence had to start thinking about, oh, this guy is hidden, he's going to put, he never did any of that. So Spence kept on the attack, and you'll see second half of the fight, he just kept getting stronger and stronger, and you can see Brook fading, and you can start seeing Brook fighting cautiously. He started to fight cautiously, so that was his downfall. And I'll tell you what, it's hard to say this about a next champion, but Brook, he's close to where he's got to take it back. He can't handle any of the up and coming boxers. He can't handle the Charlo brothers. He can't handle Thurman. He needs to stay in Sheffield and fight the way he's been.
Well, before you just throw dirt on him like you're doing, let me remind fans.
I'm trying to be reality.
No, well, you be reality if you want to, but I want to remind fans that Kell Brook, for the last 4 years for sure, but I think it's 5 years, that he has been chasing Amir Khan. That's been his thing. He's wanted Amir Khan. They're both at welterweight. He wanted him. Amir Khan always made excuses like he always does.
Thank you.
Kell Brook had.
That's my point.
He really had no. Wait a minute. He really had no choice, but to take that fight against Triple G. I did not count that really as a loss to him because he jumped up 2 weight divisions to fight Triple G. He got destroyed there, but the problem that was he got that right eye socket destroyed.
Right.
Okay.
Now he got the left one.
And last night he got the left one destroyed. So I think his boxing career is done. Eddie Hearn said that he will probably move back up to 154.
No.
From now on. But I think that he's done because
I heard that. And that's
I
foolish.
would think that his family hopefully intervenes and tells him, no, man, you're messing with your vision for the rest of your life.
Your health.
And that's for somebody, cooler heads need to prevail. And when you talked about him not having the power, I think the thing is that, they mentioned briefly during the last 2 or 3 weeks that Kell was having a little bit of a problem making that 147. Okay? So if he's having a little bit of problem making that 147, and it's probably because of that Triple G fight where he had to take time off, let that eye heal. Look, I'm not going to take anything from Kell Brook. He's a tough out. But as a good friend of mine told me, and I've said it many times, and you know who you are, every fighter in his career comes to that point where he comes up against an opponent who is that immovable object.
Exactly.
And I think for Earl Spence, in that first 7 rounds, Kell Brook was that immovable object. Mm-hmm. He couldn't do anything with. He's used to. He was
losing.
He was
losing. He was
losing. He's used to handling dudes that.
Yeah, he was losing.
To the young boy's credit, and he said it after the fight in the interviews, and I hope everyone got a chance to see it, or you will get a chance to see it. But after the fight, he admitted. He said, this was the toughest fight he'd had. Kell Brook said the same thing. He gave young boy. He said that was the toughest fight I've had. But for everybody to be on the same page that it was a tough fight. But for Al Heyman to have confidence, and Al Heyman's confidence was because of Earl Spence's confidence.
Absolutely.
And that's what Bomac said earlier. To see this young boy go over there and say, hey, like Kell Brooks, Earl Spence said in a couple of interviews, this is my legacy. I go over here and fight a guy that has the belt, that came over here, and he gave him credit. Remember, Kell Brook came over here and won the title, from Sean Porter.
Yep.
Then he goes over there and wins the fight back. And you remember Sean Porter? Love Sean Porter to death.
Yep.
But his dad and he said, we're not going over there. So there's a whole lot to be said about Earl Spence. He is the future.
I love it, man.
He is the future of boxing for America right now.
I love it. He reminds me of the Muhammad Ali that went all over the world and if
you're going to be called world champion, what should you do?
Stevie Johnston, Little Babette Johnson, went to France, and fought anywhere. Okay?
Yeah.
This is what makes a true champion, not just a paper champion. And you can talk to champions here, and they'll sit there and tell you, "Well, I don't want to fight him, and him, but I will fight him, and him."
Yeah.
That's the way. That's what boxing turned into.
But that's because we're old school, man. We're old school. If a dude stood on TV and said, "I want Aurelio Martinez," you said, "It's happening."
But that's why U.S. boxers have been playing second fiddle to the rest of the world for over a decade now. That's about to change, and I've been pushing that, and I've been saying that. Okay, so it's about to change, and you're going to see the United States boxers come back up into the limelight. And like Bob Arum, he's going to follow the PBC and start going on free TV. Watch Bob Arum start picking up these American boxers and start focusing them instead of all these foreign China, Russia, and all this other thing. Because you know what? American boxers will back up their American fighters, especially when they got boxers that are talented and exposed, and like Spence and Charlo brothers and Thurman, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Okay. And let me say this once again. 303, baby. Mike, very proud of you that you went in and you let everybody know that you're back. Gabe, Michael Anthony, over there at the 303 Barbershop. I know everybody's excited in Denver radio just to see Mike back and see him focused. As we are, just a little preview. We got Manny Perez fighting on July the 9th, and he's fighting against an opponent that's going to be a tough guy for him.
Right.
So,
well, congratulations, Mike.
Congratulations.
I'll see you at the gym this week. I'm sure you're going to take a couple of days off, but I'll see you at the gym. And your motivation to these youngsters. Go for it, baby.
All right.
But good. We'll leave you with that, and we'll come back in our final segment for this week, and we're going to talk about we're going to keep going on these young fighters coming up. As you well aware know, Inside Boxing last year put together what they call the Destructive Dozen. And that's all new boxers coming in. So we're going to talk about who's on this Destructive Dozen list, where they've been, how they're faring, and if they're going to be somebody we're going to be able to see on TV here in years to come.
All of them should be. All of them
telling
should
you.
be.
So
all right.
stay tuned. All
All
right.
right. Radio. What do we always do? Inside Boxing Throwdown, baby.
Keep them hands up.
Keep them up. Keep them hands up.